Alrighty, yo, we're just going on everybody. It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, back with another reaction video. Today we're going to react to the ultimate heel of all heels, Vince motherfucking McMahon, for the one time, though. This is the ultimate heel. This is the personification of just an evil, vindictive person. This man is the example of evil. If there was an example of evil, it would be Mr. McMahon. Without further ado, let's get right into it, bro. Sponsor block for the win.
From the 80s to the mid-90s, Vince McMahon was a constant presence on WWE television. He would always appear doing interviews and commentary and was the voice of the company, and yet most viewers had no idea he was also the owner of the company. But by 1999, that all changed. Everyone knew he was the owner of the company, and he was full-fledged the most evil character in wrestling. He was 54 years old and went from looking like this to looking like this. He was so jacked, he was so oily, it didn't make any sense, and the Mr. McMahon character was out in full force. In 1999 alone, Vince was running around, going through tables, falling off steel cages, winning the Royal Rumble, arranging his daughter to be kidnapped and married by The Undertaker. He hated Austin so much that he even got his son involved in the beef and was having handicap ladder matches, and by the end of the year, he was also the WWE champion. What a lifestyle. All of that was already insane, but the thing about Mr. McMahon was, the more he was on television, the older he got, the more mental this guy got. See,
Facts.
99 and 2000, Mr. McMahon was iconic, right? They were special times, but the thing is, as the years went by, Vince was out here evolving like a Pokemon. Just when you thought Vince was wildin', he went further and further and crazier and crazier.
Facts.
And there are 4 years in the 2000s that are perfect examples of this. We begin in 2001, the beginning of prime Mr. McMahon. So as 2001 began, Vince had already told Linda that he wanted a divorce. He broke Linda's heart so badly that she actually had a mental breakdown and needed to be placed in a mental institution. But every time Stephanie would beg him, he would just kind of be like, sounds like a personal problem to me. So he has his wife sent to a mental institution, he disowns his daughter, and to really kickstart his midlife crisis, he begins to have an affair with Trish Stratus. And it's like, okay, that's fine, you know, doesn't every 50-year-old man do that? Well,
Facts.
yeah. But he goes above and beyond, as is tradition for the Big Mac Man. Because eventually he starts taking Trish to Linda to flaunt her, and then he finds out that his wife, Linda McMahon, is in a comatose state, meaning that she's in a state of deep unconsciousness for a prolonged or indefinite period. So yo, this maniac takes Linda, who's in a wheelchair, basically unconscious, and does this in front of her, just going crazy, tongue and mouth and everything, and Linda is just there, his real life wife, just being forced to watch this, and it just gets worse and worse. Vince was just out here for the first time showing us how wild he can truly be, and this all leads to WrestleMania 17. Father versus son. His son Shane McMahon comes back for revenge for his mother, and he proceeds to just clap his dad in a classic match. Vince basically dies in this match. Linda finally wakes up and stands up to him, and you're like, damn, okay, Vince finally got what was coming to him. You know, it came crashing down, and it definitely hurt inside. He got embarrassed on the grandest stage of them all, and now maybe, just maybe, he might go back to normal, right? Maybe he can finally relax, just be the boss, do his thing, just go back to normal.
Nope.
But no, no, because by the end of the year, he's in the ring having men kiss his ass on live television.
Yep.
Bro, what the f? 2001, Vince was an evil monster, just pushing the boundaries of what anyone would ever expect to see on a wrestling show. But the thing was, this was just the beginning. See, if you thought 2001 Vince was wild, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you 2003 Mr. McMahon. The year that Vince had beef with Hulk Hogan, the year he wanted to kill Hulkamania, the year he stabbed Hulk Hogan with a pen and then signed the contract in his blood. What a special year in the life of Vince McMahon this was. So in 03, Vince goes to WrestleMania jacked and oilier than ever, has a match with Hogan in where for some reason he jumps off a ladder through an announce table because apparently he's Jeff Hardy now, and then goes full horror movie mode for this iconic scene all in one match. But the problem was, he lost that match to Hogan. And this was the worst thing that could have ever happened to this man, because this is when he truly lost all of his marbles. And I think a lot of people forgot how insane 2003 Mr. McMahon truly was. So first he fires Hogan and tells him you're never allowed back here, and finally Vince is happy. He's relieved that he doesn't have to worry about Hogan anymore. But the problem was the next week Mr. America made his WWE debut, and for some reason, nobody knows why to this day, Vince had gone so crazy by then, he was so delusional that for some reason he thought Mr. America was Hulk Hogan. So he makes it his personal vendetta to embarrass Mr. America and prove to the world that he's Hulk Hogan. So he ends up taking a lie detector test with Mr. America to prove he's Hogan. But nah, according to the lie detector test, Mr. America isn't Hogan, and instead, well, we find this out.
I am no pervert.
And this just drives Vince crazier and crazier. So Mr. America ends up befriending a 20-year-old kid named Zach Gowen, who only has one leg. The poor kid had lost his leg at the age of 8 years old due to cancer, but Vince sees this and he makes it his mission to destroy this poor kid's life. The kid already only had one leg, but for Vince that was one too many. So first he challenges the kid to an arm wrestling match, right? And that's fine, that's normal, until you see Vince, and I'm telling you, he was even more jacked and oilier than ever. So he starts losing the arm wrestling match, and he ends up kicking the kid in the one leg that he does have, makes him leave the ring, and then starts mocking his limp. But yo, that was just the beginning, because every week Vince would basically torture this poor kid. Every single week, at least once a week, and twice when there was a pay-per-view, this 58-year-old man was destroying this one-legged kid's life. Literally for no reason. This poor kid didn't do anything, didn't bother anyone, but Vince was just so cracked out at this point, he just hated him. So Brock Lesnar ends up breaking the kid's other leg, and now Zach Gowen, who has no legs at this point, he is tied to a wheelchair, his mouth is covered, and Vince McMahon ends up ordering Brock Lesnar to push him down the stairs, and this ends up becoming the greatest day of his life when Vince finally conquered the one-legged 20-year-old. So now it's late 2003, right? Vince has bought WCW, Austin is retired, Hogan is gone, the one-legged kid has no legs now, he has Sable as a side beast, life is good, life is set, he's a billionaire, he can finally relax and chill and just do his own thing. But nah, instead he has to go beef his own daughter on live pay-per-view. Yes, this was a real match that happened on pay-per-view. I would show clips, but I'm not trying to get demonetized. And it wasn't just a normal match. No, why would we keep it a normal match? They made it an I Quit match. Vince McMahon versus Stephanie McMahon, No Mercy 03, an I Quit match. And just to make it even better, they had Linda, so his wife and Stephanie's mom, watching at ringside, enjoying this 5-star classic masterpiece. Like, yo, it doesn't make any sense. There is nothing that Vince wouldn't do. There's nothing he wouldn't say, and this just shows that definitely there is nobody safe from the McMahon. At the end of the day, this was still the owner of the company. This was the same guy that was in charge of $1 billion company, who answered to stakeholders, who was the boss, and just happened to be doing this at the exact same time. He could do whatever he wanted in his own company, on his own television show, and this was the stuff that he wanted to do. Nah, yo, 2003 Vince on SmackDown was a true menace, but fast forward to 2005, okay? 03 was done, it came, it went, he had his beefs, did his thing, it's gone. By 2005, Vince had finally calmed down a bit, to be honest. He was finally kind of normal now, and if anything, when he came out on TV, he wasn't really the evil boss. If anything, he was getting cheered by most of the fans. He was at this stage of his career where he can just be the boss, get some cheers and relax, and just settle down. Maybe 2001 and 2003 Vince was the past now. I mean, listen, by now, he was 60 years old, right? It makes sense. He had just tore both of his quads on live pay-per-view. Maybe it's time to just take it easy, ride off into the sunset. You had your fun, you know, respect. Nope, gotta beef God in 2006. Yo, it doesn't make any sense. I swear to God, it makes no sense. Vince has any minor inconvenience in life. Just one thing doesn't go his way, this man just goes 1,000 times harder. See, in 99 and 2000, Vince was pretty normal because everything was going well, right? Well, the XFL fails in 2001. He ends up losing $30 million plus. Time to start a club, pal. WrestleMania 19 in 2003 does a horrible buy rate. More people bought the Royal Rumble that year than WrestleMania. Well, Time to beat up a one-legged kid, pal. And then he tears both of his quads on live pay-per-view in 2005. A total freak accident. It's an accident. It happens. You can't control it. It's fine, right? Whatever. Time to beef God, pal. Yo, that was Vince in the Ruthless Aggression era. And in 2006, I don't even know how to explain this. So he had beef with HBK. He had beef with Shawn Michaels, but HBK didn't have a partner. And Vince really wanted to have a match. You know, he just really wanted to have one. And he couldn't make it a 3-on-1 match. No, that's unfair. So being the kind, generous man that Vince is, he gave Shawn Michaels the greatest tag team partner they could possibly find. And look how nice Vince was. He even gave him a special entrance and everything. But at the end of the day, even that wasn't enough to stop the Big Mac Man. So for the rest of humanity, as long the world exists, as long as the universe exists, as long as wrestling is a thing, in the wrestling history books, it will forever say this. Nah, man, life is just a simulation. Nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing is off limits for Vince. I mean, do I even have to explain this picture over here?
Nope,
so that was
all.
06, right?
What's good, my
Vince
nigga?
ever top this? He tweaked in 01, he tweaked in 03, 06. How could he top this? Well, he somehow found a way in 07. So at WrestleMania 23 in 2007, Vince was in the middle of the ring. He lost his match, and in front of 80,000 people, he got embarrassed and humiliated. He's crying, he's depressed, he has shaving cream everywhere, and worst of all, he was bald. He was left looking like this, and Vince McMahon was down so bad. You know, this is Vince McMahon. This is the Big Mac Man. He can't be like this. He can't be depressed. He needed to get his swagger back. He needed to get his mojo back, and he needed to be the man
He
once
embraced the
again.
do-rag.
So what does he do?
He
Well, he
embraced the
starts
do-rag.
wearing a do-rag and becomes ECW champion and starts walking around thinking he's 2003 50 Cent. For some reason in 2007, Vince McMahon put on a do-rag, got superpowers, and the craziest part is, this is the happiest Mr. McMahon I have ever seen in my life on television. Yo, it turns out it wasn't the millions of dollars, it wasn't being the feds in court, it wasn't Trish, it wasn't Sable or his little club that he had on the side. All he needed to be happy in life was a do-rag and the ECW championship. Yo, he would just go around and be the biggest troll. The way he would walk, the way he would talk, the way he would dress. I mean, yo, just look at this. This was a fit that would make Cameron jealous. Nah, yo, 07 Durag Vince was just that guy.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
He would say whatever he wanted, do whatever he wanted.
Man.
He would go into ECW and just troll everyone. One time in the ring are all these former ECW champions, you know, these legends of the business, legends of the company, and RVD goes like, "You're making a mockery of the ECW championship," and Vince just goes like, "You're damn right I am." This was like the evil version of Prison Mike come to life. Durag Vince was in the cut. He had his own special handshakes now. He'd be doing some weird things with his hands, throwing up gang signs. This man loved the ECW championship and his durag more than he loved anything. He loved his durag and his championship more than he loved his own son. For 2 months, Durag Vince was just a meme. I don't know how else to describe it. He was just the biggest meme. So Vince loved that championship more than he loved anything. So when he lost that belt, he was so depressed, he was so sad that the man forgot how to talk. He basically became Linda McMahon in 2001. So I guess karma is real. This man forgot how to talk, and he would just sit there in his rocking chair, just missing and crying, thinking about his ECW championship. This man was so depressed, he was down so bad that he faked his own death. I don't think anyone will ever forget being a kid and turning on Raw and watching, and this is just what they end up seeing. Nah, man, I'm done. I can't. Mr. McMahon, just insane. That is all I can say. Prime Mr. McMahon is without a doubt the most insane, the craziest, just the most mental character we have ever seen in wrestling. And of course, let's be real, is it really a character? No, not at all. But Vince in those 4 years, in my opinion, in 01, 03, 06, and 07, we will never ever see a character like that ever again. And honestly, maybe for good reason. How was this even allowed in the first place? Yo, this was such a crazy time to grow up, right? Like, we were kids and we would tune in to watch wrestling, and this was a part of the presentation. This was the product, like this was normal. Every now and then Vince would just come back and it became the wild, wild west. He would do whatever he wanted, say whatever he wanted, and yo, you knew when Vince was on TV and you were a kid, you were probably watching something that you shouldn't be watching. But once upon a time, This was normal. Yo, I swear, even though we ran down this, we saw the pictures, we saw the clips and everything, we talked about it, this still feels so surreal. Prime Mr. McMahon was just insane. That is the best way to put it. What a time it was to be alive. In the comments down below, let me know your personal wildest memory of Vince McMahon when you were watching back in the day. What was the one moment that just made your jaw go on the floor and you were just there like, yo, whoa, what is going on? But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's your boy Pav, aka Wrestling Ifs. I'll catch you guys on the next one soon. Until then, take it easy, take care, and I'll see you guys later.
Alrighty, man. That's just gonna about do it for this one. Prime Vince McMahon was a motherfucker. Hey, man. Prime Vince McMahon was the most evil, ruthless motherfucker there is. Arguably the best heel that we ever had. Anyway, so just go about do it for this one. I'll see y'all in the next video. Till then, peace out.